Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox here, and I'm going to read to you today out of the Peirce book called Frequency. Remind you about staying in your frequency. Okay, this book, it's called Frequency, the Power of Personal Vibration, but really it's like about like the vortex, like Abraham Hicks's The Vortex, or we create reality by the frequency that's in our energy field. Every thought creates a frequency. And so if we can think positive, and thinking positive is different for different people. What's exciting for you may not be exciting for someone else. So it's about being true to you and choosing what really is your highest excitement, what you know is best for you based on your feeling of joy. And every time you do that, whether it's which place to eat, where to go during a day, who to talk to, who to call, what to do, if you always follow your highest excitement, then you're training yourself, you're setting your frequency to draw more of that. The same with money. If you're always complaining about out money, then that's your frequency. If you're always going, oh, all right, there's some more money. Oh, there's some more money. No matter how much is going out, then you're changing your frequency to drawing money. Okay, so I recommend this book. Peirce is Penney, Peirce. It's very, very good stuff. So we're not going to read like back to front, obviously. I'm just going to read you random things. And if you're here for the Nisara stuff, and don't like me reading, obviously, you can shut the video off. Okay. All right, Thomas Paine. Let's see what he's got to say. Our style and manner of thinking have undergone a revolution. We see with other eyes, we hear with other ears, and think with afterthoughts. With other thoughts than those we formerly used to. Henceforth called afterthoughts. Right, we have a new way of thinking. And boy, we're coming into a new way of thinking. Today being January 18th and all. All right, so let's see. People who are sensitive to the invisible realms, and I count myself as one, have long intuited that the subtle frequency inside our bodies and in the earth itself has been steadily rising. Hence the Schumann information. This first stirs us up internally, causing us to feel uncomfortable without knowing why. Then the external world accelerates and seems increasingly high-pitched or even chaotic. Eventually, we adjust to the new, higher level of energy, and our awareness increases to the same degree. We've known instinctively that the heightened energy was coming in a series of waves, carrying our awareness incrementally up towards a shift in perception, where our sense of self would evolve from an identity based on separation, fear, and ego to one based on interrelatedness, love, and soul, and interdimensionally so. We sensed that at that high frequency our world would function according to new, more elegant, and efficient principles. Now this shift is underway and evident to most of society, as we try to function in a climate where everything is increasing from the amount of data we digest to the hours we must stay awake to get the job done, to the tidal wave of negativity that's beginning to seem normal. It can be a daunting task these days just to stay centered. We're leaving the information age and entering the intuition age, which brings with it nothing short of a major transformation in the way we perceive reality. And so we're in the golden age. We are in the age of Aquarius. All right. The questions now are, how do we learn the rules of this expanded vibrational world and develop the energy and consciousness skills that can help us function in it? How do we stabilize our new perception, identity, and behavior while our previous way of life is going through its death throes? Are the frequencies calling you? I don't know. Like many people, you may be responding to the accelerating frequency of life by trying to adjust your own energy state in a variety of ways, both healthy and unhealthy, to find equilibrium, security, and relief from stress. Or you may be hunting hungrily for clues about how to thrive in this excited world with its massive complexity. The answers do not lie in gadgets and gizmos, or in technologically assisted ways of processing more data. The simple truth is that moving into the intuition age is all about what you can know and do with energy, and how you can develop effective, expanded sensitivity. Okay, and it talks about why I may have picked up this book. Okay, this book has a lot of really good stuff in it. Every thought you have affects your frequency, and we project reality. And those of you who know the Mandela effect or have experienced timeline shifts, you know it's so important right now that we focus on the positive. So when the people are coming up with the negativity of this week, January 20th, with what's going to happen next, this video will go on from there. So it's not necessarily about that, but we're focusing on trusting the plan. We're focusing on having faith. And anything outside of that, we can't even look at or even focus on at all, because then that tempts to create that timeline, and we certainly don't want that. Okay, your highest frequency can be normal. I absolutely know that you can, under your own steam, dissolve the shell that separates you from a higher experience of self and a much better life. You don't need gurus or to be catapulted into supernatural experiences by dramatic events. You are becoming such a high-frequency being right here in your physical body that what used to be metaphysical, transpersonal, and paranormal is now almost ordinary. Some missing pieces of the big picture are making their way into your consciousness now, and this new understanding is facilitating the tipping point into the intuition age for us all. Many people I talk to are close to understanding that we've never left home, the heaven experience, while at the same time we have been having the most amazing, captivating dream called life on Earth. You know, this Earth matrix. To fully wake up from the dream, you'll need an everyday experience of soul, of your own highest frequency state that you accept as normal. That experience is, among other things, one of empathy, compassion, where high-quality feelings shoots you straight through and beyond the seduction of suffering. And it is a seduction. The chemical that's released for suffering, and makes you just want to keep doing it. You have to set new patterns, set a new frequency. And also remember, with frequency, you know, like with the radio station, if you're tuned into the rock channel, you can't hear the country channel. Tuned into country, you can't hear classical. Well, unless you have more than one radio, right? Okay, I don't go there. But the point is that you tune into things other people don't. You could be standing right next to someone and see something completely different because you're in a different frequency. I had no idea it was like that. I used to think that thinking positive creates positive. But it's literal and it's quantum. And I used to get frustrated at people that I would do things with, or like I was in a car accident once with someone and we had a completely different version of what happened. And I just thought, well, you know, they remembered different than me. And they didn't remember correctly, and I did. But now I know we really could have had two very different experiences, like completely different set of facts. It's all subjective perspective. Okay, the limitation of logic and the fuzzy hypnosis of the world. You have to feel lovable, loved, and loving in your very cells before you can grasp the truth of your enlightened identity. Know oneness and settle into an expanded way of living. Being consciously sensitive to the subtle information encoded in energy frequency will put you on the fast track to experiencing this saturated state of certainty about love and soul. To discover the information and experience stored in our most refined frequencies, we are experiencing an evolutionary movement down from our heady view of life into the knowledge of our bodies, into our heart space. Yet because we encounter emotion when doing this, and emotion can catalyze confusion, resistance, and panic, as well as lift us into a sublime mystical swoon, we tend to avoid it. By avoiding emotion, we create a blank spot where we don't experience our full self. I wrote Frequency to help you melt through the last barriers to awakening fully and actually feeling the experience of the expanded self that will be your normal state in the intuition age. And again, I recommend that you guys get this book. Yeah, it talks about some other books, recommends The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, that's a good book. The Celestine Prophecy, good book, and the ones after it. The Celestine Prophecy is a movie too, and it's on YouTube for free. peaceful warrior might be too. Okay, the intuitive way, your life purpose, the field is really good. Lynn Taggart, all these studies of things that affect your field, and then what the bleep do we know? The double-blind quantum split, like reality, cells actually change, electrons change based on the observer. Get comfortable, Crystal. So they're doing this test, right? No one's in the room. Then when someone comes in the room and watches the test, it changes it. That's pretty phenomenal. And that's quantum physics. That's why there's no facts. There's only subjective perspective. Okay, and they also recommend the hidden messages in water, love it. Da Vinci Code, Law of Attraction, The Secret. Okay. Right, so that's all about changing your frequency to draw what it is you actually want versus your frequency being things you don't want in your life. These works, okay, right. I told you those, so. All right, so I'm just randomly reading, obviously. So, okay, the whole outer world and its form are signature of the inner world. Jacob Boehme. Okay, so that's the quantum thing, right? Every thought you have, everything that you feel inside, everything that you feel about someone else is your own reflection of your own patterns and your own programs. Okay, some years ago, a woman came for a reading who, unbeknownst to me, had suffered sexual and physical abuse in her childhood, and she was tense and surly. I had not experienced this enough to recognize it as the phenomenon it has now become, and as she sat militantly in the chair opposite me, arms crossed tightly over her chest, acting like she didn't want to be there, I felt intimidated and scared, then angry. I persisted with professional kindness, though, and started the reading. As I penetrated through her layers of defense, I discovered the abuse and felt how wounded and vulnerable she was. I saw that I'd been feeling her feelings a few minutes earlier. She was intimidated, scared, and angry. Then I felt her innate love under it all, and the compassion for what she'd courageously experienced flooded through me. I spoke to her about how I experienced her true self, and she broke down sobbing. I understood then how she had unconsciously mimicked the emotion of her abuser, a negative form of empathy or body sensitivity, so we picked that up from our abuser, and was acting out the same qualities he'd shown her, but in a different way. I thought how many people have reacted to her, as I almost did, reflecting back the lack of caring, rejection, anger, and hardness, and reinforcing her wound. I learned a valuable lesson from her about how what I feel can be related to what people around me are feeling. We're just like tuning forks, copying the resonance we touch energetically. And so you don't even have to go around, healing people. You walk through the aisles at the store, you're in a crowd, they say it's 12 feet. You affect other people's energy field. So you will raise their frequency just by being in their energy field or going into their space. And oftentimes that disrupts their life and turns it upside down because you have such a high frequency, you go into their personal space or their energy field or even not necessarily walk by them in the store, you do some tuning and raising, but if you're like in their energy field for a certain amount of time, it raises their energy field and it clears out all the old stuff. And sometimes it's not comfortable for those that are receiving the higher frequencies. Okay, let's see. Okay. So, magic of frequency. Okay. Our phoenix-like transformation. There's a part of every living thing that wants to become itself. Yeah, that's the trick. That's the key to everything. That's what we're here for, is to let ourselves be ourselves. Oh, heck, you're born you. How could you not be you? But we're not, right? We try to be our partner's version of us. We try to be our parents' version of us, our adult children's version of us. It's really a struggle for a lot of people to let themselves be who they really are and not care about any repercussions from anyone around them. People live through their parents, they live through their siblings, they live through their community, their school, their kids, and they don't know who they are, what they believe, and what they feel. Okay, this is part of every living thing, okay, wanting to become itself. Okay, the tadpole into the frog, the chrysalis into the butterfly. The damaged human being into a whole one. That is spirituality. Do you ever feel like a balloon being inflated with helium? You're getting bigger and bigger, expanding to a huge fullness, and the gas just keeps coming. Yeah, I've been there. Coca-Cola does that. Just kidding. Okay, try taking a minute to be aware of everything that interests, pleases, and upsets you. Then include all the creative breakthroughs, new facts, daily developments, bids for attention, and curiosities there are in the world. Now add all the opinions, complaints, hypocrisies, tragedies, dramas, and fears. Feel it all inside you, wanting to be known, pushing against the limits of the thinning membrane that holds your reality in existence. How much more room is there? How much more pressure can you take before your reality explodes? And that's what I mean by if you're a higher frequency and you go into someone else's reality, you tend to implode their reality as you raise their frequency. We're in New Earth energy and you can't lower. So we used to do crystals and all these things to make sure that we weren't absorbing the negative energy of our clients. But we've been in New Earth energy for quite some time and we can't. It's like those things, like some sort of a sieve where you can go through, but then you can't go back. So we're at this higher realm, and so when we enter people's life of a lower frequency and they have lower frequency things going on in their life, we can raise their vibration, which disrupts their ant nest, and they have to rebuild. But we don't go to their frequency. We used to lower ourselves to their frequency, used to be able to attach in old earth energy. That's changed. Okay. So there's got to be another more unlimited way of knowing. Fortunately, we happen to be in the middle of an evolutionary process whose end result will be new kinds of perception, identity, and reality that are totally free of constraints. There's a good reason you feel excited and pressured. If you are to fully understand the emerging energy reality with its high frequency and unlimited perceptions, it helps to know there's a good reason you may feel shaken up, ultra-sensitive, or rudderless. The reality of the intuition age will be the result of a gradual but fairly rapid process of personal and societal transformation. It can put you through the ringer emotionally and energetically, but will eventually deliver you to an amazing destination you'll love. And yes, there is a roadmap to help you get there. Understanding the transformation process as a whole is crucial if you don't want to jump from one popular trend in thinking to the latest energy technique while missing key components that can make your experience smoother, faster, and more cohesive. Okay, we are in a phase when one age is succeeding another, when everything is possible. For years now, in the world of physics, business, spirituality, and even politics, we've heard about the paradigm shift, quantum leap, new world order, tipping point, new age, and holographic reality. And boy, are we in that now, right? Is there a holograph of the Pope, and we're going to have some sort of a holographic inauguration illusion. And we are shifting to another paradigm, parallel reality. Yeah, awesome. Even Star Wars gave us a powerful image of the jump to hyperspace. Thomas Kuhn polarized the concept of the paradigm shift in 1962, defining evolution as a series of peaceful interludes, punctuated by intellectually violent revolutions, within which one conceptual worldview is replaced by another. So basically, a paradigm shift implies a change in the way we think about life that results in a change in behavior. Remember how developments in agriculture changed primitive hunter-gathering societies, or the way the printing press freed us from church domination in the Dark Ages, and how personal computers and the internet helped us shift from being isolated and local to being interconnected global citizens. As significant as these developments were, they are within the realm of change. I believe what's happening today is more than change. We are living in a time of transformation. What's the difference? Change plus the next dimension equals transformation. Think of a dinner table with place settings, plates of food, beverages, and centerpiece. Now mix up the arrangement. Put the salt shaker inside an empty wine glass, the napkins under the plates, the food on the tablecloth instead of in the serving bowls. Break a salad plate into pieces and turn the counterpiece upside down. Viola, you have change. You have recombined the existing items into new forms and relationships, but they all still exist on the tabletop in time and space, and there is still a perception that the items are separate from each other, solid and inert. Well, that sounds like a mess, right? Okay, transformation, metamorphosis, or transmutation is something else altogether. Those words imply an alchemical change in the basic nature of something, a shift from one energy state to another, a startling change that occurs miraculously as if by magic. The Phoenix legend exemplifies this death of the ordinary self by transmuting, purifying fire, spiritual growth, and its rebirth from the ashes as a creature of gold, light, and love. In our example of the dinner table, the water might transform into its gaseous state and seem to disappear, or the whole dinner table might transmute into an experience of its higher meaning, abundance, or an experience of family love, and cease to be a physical thing at all. You're about to experience a big identity shift. Imagine a single point floating in space, and you are that point. Life has no dimension, no movement, and you have virtually no sense of self. Now imagine a series of points gathering close together, like beads on a string, until a mysterious critical mass of awareness is reached, and a new reality called the line is born. Timeline. You merge completely into that new world, forgetting your identity as a point. You become a line. You have an expanded self and live in a world with new rules. There is movement that oscillates back and forth. You are much freer than you were as a dot. Well then, when my identity shifts, reality shifts simultaneously. When reality shifts, my identity shifts simultaneously. You forget your prior version. When we move into this next reality, we forget the other stuff. So I've been through so much in the last, like, say, 5-10 years, and I'm forgetting it. So I can remember places. It's not like, I'm getting old and I forget. It's literally letting go of those timelines. So where I might have suffered through something or been through something for years every single day, I'm like forgetting that it happened, and I'm only bringing forward the good. Right? I'm like, oh, that was fun, or this happened, or that happened. And I'm forgetting those things. And then I go, wait a minute. I want to remember. It's like, why? Why do you want to remember the sorrow, the pain? Well, the writer in me wants to remember it because it's got so many layers and so many emotions. And I experience so much that I kind of hold on to some of the memory. But why not just move into that where we don't remember it? And that's what heaven on earth is supposed to be, right? And that's the new earth. That's the Bible teaching. That's so much of the different teachings of that. When we move into this new earth, we're not going to remember people we lost. We're not going to remember bad experiences we had. We're not going to remember anything negative or low vibration. And so, so that is awesome. Okay, let's see. Now you see, I don't remember where I was, so okay, now see if you can feel what occurs as a series of lines gathers close together and builds out in a previously unknown dimension, precipitating a new state of awareness called the plane. You forgot your identity as a line. You experience moving, not just in 2 directions, but anywhere in 4 directions, even in curves. Life as a plane offers you many more options, and you can barely remember your former limited self. Next, try sensing what occurs when a series of planes gather together close, stack up, and expand in yet another dimension, catalyzing the reality of the 3-dimensional cube. You forgot your identity as a plane, forgot your identity as a line, because now you've opened into what seems like unlimited space and possibility. Your world contains time, space, and matter, finite objects and empty space, an inside and an outside world, a past, present, and future, and an idea of self based on what reflects back to you from other beings. Sound familiar? This cubic, 3-dimensional world is where we live now, who we think we are, and what we define as normal. We don't live there for long, right? Okay. You might think of the 4th dimension as the realm of the soul of spirit, an experience rather than a place in which everything exists simultaneously, in a unified field of energy and awareness, where everything contains everything else. All is known, and love is the primary substance out of which everything is made. What might reality be like when the 3rd and 4th dimensions blend? Here's a hint. You won't be interested in linear cause and effect thinking or angular shapes. You'll think in spirals, and life will move in oscillating waves. You'll understand fractals and holograms as the basis of consciousness, there will be no such thing as distance, past, or future. In the new reality, soul will be the supreme force, consciousness of the interpenetration of the visible and invisible realms will be the most valuable thing, and anything will be possible. Inca prophecy concerning the coming golden age. In their book, The 10th Insight, that's one of the Celestine Prophecy books by James Redfield. The prophets of the Andes, the holy men and women say the time period from 1993 to 2012 is a critical period in the evolution of human consciousness. And in 2012, it said that we shifted to where we're at now. And in the timeline that we're in now, we're kind of in like the Rainbow Bridge. We're in this middle ground where we're awakening humanity and getting to that conscious level before we can move to 5D. Some people think we died in 2012, and our consciousness was moved to this version of us in order to not break our consciousness as we moved into 5D, to awaken us more to, all of this corruption, all of the debt slavery and the human trafficking. All that was used to control us and control our energies and keep us in this matrix construct. Okay, we have entered the time they call the age of meeting ourselves again. During these times, the Andean people believe we will make a transition from the third level of awareness to the fourth. The challenge is to cleanse our collective fears and gather enough spiritual energy so mankind can pass collectively into fourth level consciousness. Okay, an Incan spiritual messenger from Peru says, the children of the sun have existed since ancient times, since the last golden era. Even as these are 4 seasons of the year, so the 4 great cosmic ages follow one another. After the golden era came the silver era, then the bronze, then the iron, the present era consisting of the last 1,000 years. The last metallic era has a strong materialistic quality and has been an era of darkness as people have fallen into egotism, using the force of Mother Nature in a negative way. And we are out of that. It was a time of war. The wars have been ended, right? Liberated, stopped, with the lead of the light worker, Donald Trump. He's probably an ascended master too. It is time of war, of cold metal. So that's the age of iron. Like a long winter is now closing. The new age, the golden age, the age of Aquarius, like spring, is announcing itself through the world. Woo! We're almost there. We're almost broke up through the soil. We must return to the ways of nature, to receive illumination, to recognize the cosmic laws and our bodies as temples. Each person is a sacred temple. The altar of that temple is the heart. The fire of love, a reflection of the greater light, burns upon this altar. This light within must be acknowledged, cared for, and venerated. This is the religion of the sons of the sun. Okay. Does not matter how slowly you go, so as long as you do not stop. Alright, spirit merges with body, emotion, and mind. The physical, three-dimensional world we think of as reality is beginning to respond to an influx of high-frequency energy, much as a napping child might be lured from sleep by the intoxicating smell of cookies. That works for me too. The fourth dimension, the next level of awareness that's just beyond you, is making itself known. Some say this is the result of distant cosmic events or a plasma field, or cosmic energy passing through our part of the Milky Way. Whatever the cause, as the higher energy of this more spiritual dimension drops down in frequency and begins to permeate your world, you stir and respond, stretching up in frequency and yearning for the mystery. Are you yearning for the mystery? You feel something calling you. I feel excited, and I know there's more to life. I want something better. You experiencing thinning boundaries between heaven and earth, lightening you up, accelerating your perception, and giving you the sensation of something important waiting beyond a curtain. Lightning. When it said lightening you up, I was almost saying lightning crashes. Lightning, it's not like lightning, it's lightening you up. A process of as you raise your consciousness and sensitivity level, you catch glimpses of what's coming. One of the symptoms of this first stage is the emphasis on mind-body unity that we see in psychology, integrated medicine, athletics, and spiritual practices such as